What do you do when Mr. Happy is no longer so happy? And in today's day and age of biohacking and quick fixes, we think we should just run out. If we're not a biohacker, but we need to compensate, take the little blue pill, or its cute cousin Cialis, the little tan pill. Or we need TRT. I was in the sauna with the other guy the other day. I'm 40. This dude is 22 or 23 and already on TRT, and I believe he was upping the dose, so he's on full steroids. So what is a guy to do when sometimes we think we need a quick fix, or sometimes things that were once working don't really work? You could be taking NO2, it's an amazing supplement, but now it doesn't have the same supercharge to your body. Maybe you need a new brand. Maybe it's this, maybe it's that. What if seems like I'll use this word intentionally, it's not pretty, like plaguing you sexually in your body, what if it's not what you think at all? It's not turning 30, 40, 50. And like I said, I mentioned that 22-year-old. I'm also talking with a client who's 57. Could be different problems, but sometimes it's not. As guys, a lot of our source of sexual dysfunction and issues can come from pain. Emotional pain, physical pain, abuse, different things when we're a kid. And there's no greater mirror, whether we like it or not, than our intimate relationship. Especially if it's someone we care about, if it's someone we really love, if it's someone we want to connect with, who want to give pleasure. It can magnify all these things. It makes me think of the recent thing with P. Diddy. Yeah, it's a lot of weird shit, right? If you've seen some of the stuff or just heard. But it's interesting if you look at his past, and I don't know his whole story, but I know from what I've watched in the documentary so far to what I've read in some of the 50 Cent interviews, he actually used to get hit by his mom so bad that the neighbors would want to do something, would want to knock on the door, call the police. His father was a drug dealer, so you can't really do that. They were afraid. But what if, and that's an extreme thing, probably you can't relate to, but what if someone like that, the Diddy story, that comes from childhood abuse? Now, does that mean just someone was hit? Does that mean, did he have sexual abuse? I don't know. And you probably didn't have sexual abuse. Maybe you have. I had. And by healing from these things, by healing from these wounds, and there's many different ways to do that. Plant medicines help me, help many clients personally. Breath work, different therapies, parts work, NLP, hypnosis, IFS, family constellations. IFS is internal family systems, different things to address what the real root cause is. What if you have a part of you that thinks, well, I have to choose. I mean, yeah, I'm into some like freaky stuff, or I want to do this with my girlfriend, or, but I'm afraid to tell her. And, I can just do this kind of vanilla sex and it's kind of boring me. Maybe it's boring her as well. Maybe you haven't explored that yet. But you have these parts of you where it's like, well, I can choose between love or I can choose between sex. Can I really have it all? Can I really have both? Nothing gets your attention more than Mr. Happy not being so happy. Ask me how I know. My first experience with this was many years ago. Almost, coming up on a decade now. I don't even know how it happened, but I didn't have the same libido and performance. And I didn't know why, which made it much more annoying. Been working with ayahuasca for a while. I wasn't getting the results in that area. And there was this one time, the ayahuasca told me, said, go outside, take off your shirt, take off your shoes, stand in the grass barefoot. It was raining. I was like, no, I'm not doing that ayahuasca. I was like, do it. No. I was kind of stubborn, if you can't tell. This is probably 7 years ago when this healing happened, after dealing with this for a couple of years. I'm living in Colombia, I'm having fun, doing my thing, with Colombian women, you know, learning a lot about sex, the heart side, the animal side. And I remember, I'll never forget, the ayahuasca showed me, like if I was at like a peak sporting event, like an NBA game, it showed me a shot clock in red, 59, 58, 57, 56, 55. So I hurry up, take off my shirt, take off my socks, stand in the grass. I'm like, this, I don't know why this is happening. This is silly, this is dumb, but this ayahuasca's helped me quite a bit. It's been a couple years with the medicine. And you know what happened? Pretty much nothing that I could tell at the time. About a week later, my performance and libido totally returned. For the first time in 2.5 years. That was the first time something like this got my attention. Now, what happened in that moment? I don't know. That's the real answer. And sometimes in life and in healing, you don't know. It can be things we've held from past relationships, things we've held from a common one that comes up with addiction, with sex stuff, is just guys that have had childhood pain that can show up in many different ways that they haven't yet worked on, healed, integrated. And when I say integrated, meaning you can have a part of you that wants something and a part of you that wants something else. How do those parts agree? So you're united. You're not in this war with yourself. Nothing really gets your attention like Mr. Happy not being so happy. What if whatever you're going through in that department has little to nothing to do with Cialis, Viagra, testosterone injections, or the cream, or what did I used to have almost a decade ago, the pellets. For me, those things didn't work. The pellets didn't really work. What if what you've been putting a Band-Aid on, you just didn't know, bro? You didn't know that this was something you were putting a Band-Aid on, that you thought, as guys, we think our body is kind of like a car, meaning it's just like, all right, put more octane in the gas tank, change the tires. The human body has its own harmonious systems can create symptoms that work together. And just our body not feeling safe, which isn't language a lot of us use as guys. Women use it all the time. More on that in another video, understanding safety with women. But if our body doesn't feel safe, if we're with a partner that we're connected to that we like, but our nervous system feels on edge, it'll create stress, it'll create cortisol. And basically the signal that ends up coming through the body is not a good time to procreate. What's interesting, you can have these, let's call them emotional blockages, even physiological blockages, energetic blockages. What's wildly powerful, especially for us as dudes, is the power of our mind. Let's say we have an emotional block that if we release it, performance, libido, whatever, just turns right back online. And let's say it's not even that bad. It's got in the way, but now you're like, oh man, fuck. I hope it doesn't happen next time. Man, it's Valentine's Day. Or, God, I've been doing my semen retention all week. I hope it doesn't happen this time. So the chitter chatter, the anxiety in the mind can make it significantly worse. If you already had a physiological or emotional challenge, or better said, healing opportunity, the mind can really exacerbate it. The tricky thing for guys is, what do you do when the pill doesn't work the same way, when the TRT doesn't work the same way, when the NO2, even if it's really high quality NO2, doesn't work the same way? As men and women, we're very different, and in some ways we're not. As guys, and I can promise you, man, I was so resistant to what I'm gonna tell you next. The fact that you have different parts of you, especially an inner 5-year-old, a part of you that's not rational at all, no matter how rational you are. It's emotional. It wants candy. It wants love. It wants safety. It wants connection. And if that part hasn't been met, if that part hasn't been understood, if that part hasn't been healed, it can wreak havoc in your relationships and your sex life. So I invite you to think about, I challenge you to really sit with yourself. Maybe journal about this tonight. Ask your subconscious mind to show you something. You'd be surprised what can happen with that. It sounds silly and simple to say. I want to realize what's going on with Mr. Happy. Why is he not so damn happy? He used to be happy all the time for no reason. You'd be surprised you can get an answer. And it might not be what you think, but it's exactly where you need to look. And as a guy doing our inner work, it can feel like confronting like a demon or a dragon that's inside of you. And maybe that dragon is a negative dragon and just needs to fly away. Or maybe it needs to be faced. Maybe it needs to be confronted. Maybe it needs to be alchemized. Like it's a dirty poop dragon. It's brown, it's slimy, it's caused all this problems, all this pain. But underneath those scales is gold. Gold to show you what's true, gold to show you how to connect with a woman on a much deeper level, not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually, in your heart, which paradoxically can lead to the best sex you've ever had, because you're meeting them where they're at, more in the emotional realm, and they're meeting you where you're at in the physical realm. And when you know how to drive the car of life sexually, life becomes a very different journey. Thanks for tuning in, gents. See you very soon. Out.